Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the monthly meeting of the West Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency. Before we begin our meeting, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I'll entertain any changes or a motion to accept as is.
I move that we accept the agenda.
I'll second that.
Been first and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Public comment on matters not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on matters not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, approval of our December 21st, 2017 meeting minutes.
I'll move approval.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, approval of the minutes as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Report out on closed session.
The board did meet in closed session to confer with its real property negotiator and to confer with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. No action was taken with regard to the existing litigation, and with regard to its real property negotiator, the board gave direction and rental authority for an ag lease on the 88-acre remainder portion of the Borrow Site 1 property.
Thank you. Review of monthly and year-to-date revenue and expenses. Mr. Zillow.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This report covers the month of November 2017. The starting position for funds 870, 871 was approximately $8 million. There was no appreciable revenue. The negative entry you see there was a refund on a flood assessment related to an APN conversion. On the project expenditure side, almost all the activity for the month of November was on the Southport project, approximately $4.7 million, and that took place with the AECom construction contract and construction support and environmental support for the project. The ending position for funds 870, 871 for November was approximately $3.2 million. That combined with the funds parked in the state advance fund account brought the agency's cash on hand to $24.1 million. More currently, as of January, our combined cash position for all three funds, it was around $22 million. We had a number of inflows, and I attached the true-up schedule on the page 4 of the cash flow report. And in October, we received a real estate reimbursement number 3 for 1.5. We've gotten approval and are expecting real estate reimbursement for number 4 for 3.3. We finished the true-up for quarter 24, which ended in September, which allowed us to move $2.6 million from 257 into 871 into the construction account. So you'll see that in the January report. And we're working on quarter 26 right now. We just got all the data in from staff time and stuff like that. So we'll go through the calculation with DWR. So you'll see that coming maybe February or early March, but maybe February because it's just a true-up exercise. We don't actually have to move checks and do issue payments. We're also expecting the first installment of the flood assessment at the end of this month, so we'll see that come in. On the expenditure side, most of the construction activity is kind of finished right now, so we'll start to see our balances float back up. We'll have to move some money out of Fund 870 to service debt, so that'll be $1 million+ there. But I think the board will see the balance trend back up as we get closer to the construction season in April. And that ends my report for the month.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
No. Thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome.
Item 6, public hearing and consideration of Resolution 18-01-01, authoring eminent domain actions on parcel 046-260-006.
Good morning, President Ramos and members of the West Safeco Board. I'm going to present another resolution of necessity today for the Sacramento River Southport Early Implementation Project. I think this will be the last one for Southport. I'm going to discuss some of the goals of the project, a brief overview of some of the decisions to get us here to where we are today, and then I'll present the information required to make the findings for a resolution of necessity. First and foremost, as I've said previously, the Southport EIP project is a public safety project. Our overall goal, West Safeco's overall goal, is to provide 200-year flood protection to the city and its residents, while having the least amount of harm to private property owners. We also desire to design and construct a project to achieve 200-year flood protection, maximizes use of local resources. As you know, the PIR was completed for the entire flood control system, identified a number of deficiencies in 2008. That was updated just within the last 18 months. An alternatives analysis was developed to analyze those deficiencies and propose solutions. And through that process, Southport was selected in 2010 to address significant levee deficiencies along the Sacramento River. We've gone through there's been a number of milestones that we've achieved. The EIR for this project was approved in 2014. We started construction on Village Parkway in the spring of 2015, which was finished in that same year. And last year, in the late 2016, we awarded a construction contract to AECom and began construction in March of last year. So how do we get to the design? We went through a design decision hierarchy. This was presented to the board to help deliberate on solutions that address the known deficiencies. Oops, sorry. So there were two different alternatives that were put forward. The guiding principles for those were to develop a project that provides the greatest amount of protection to the city as possible while minimizing the effects on the community while achieving the first objective. The combined measures of adjacent levee with seepage berm, setback levee with seepage berm, and fix in place, were assembled to produce two design alternatives. The project team presented those two design alternatives, included various solutions. Alternative one was a fix in place with repairs with conventional cutoff wall. And alternative two consisted of similar solutions for segments A, C, D, E, and G, but segments B and F solutions for the setback levee. Ultimately, the board approved advancing design on segments A through G. Value engineering studies were completed for segments F and B in May and August of 2012. And based on that feasibility, preferred design alternative into the project design was completed for the entire project. There are four findings that need to be made for a resolution of necessity. First of all, the public interest and necessity of the proposed project, that the project is planned and located in a manner that is most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, that the property is necessary for the project, and an offer has been made to the owner of record. So as we know, this project is in need for the city needs this project to provide 200-year flood protection to the residents and commercial entities within the city. And without addressing these project improvements, residents and businesses will continue to be at risk during a major storm event. This particular property is located right on the river. The Southport EIP stretches from the Sac Bank project to the city's southern border. And as you know, the design selection criteria was deliberative and considered public safety, engineering requirements and constraints, borrow needs, habitat mitigation, and impacts to private property. So the property that we're talking about is this small green shaded area. This was seen in the assessor's map as part of the adjacent parcel that we've already closed on through condemnation. That owner has been contacted and says he has not used that parcel and has no interest in that parcel. And what else was I going to say? It became part of the record for the adjacent parcel sometime in the early 1900s. Our records show that there was the heirs were found in 1915. Those are the last known heirs for this parcel. Which brings us to the last finding that needs to be made. You've approved compensation for the project. BRI completed an appraisal. However, in spite of our efforts, we've been unable to identify any heirs to this particular parcel. So what we're going to do is put it through a public notification process. Oops, and that's it. That concludes my presentation. I hope that you can, if you have any questions, let me know. Are seeking to get this, Ron, moving so that we can finish this through the legal process. Like I said, I think this will be the last resolution of necessity for the project. We still have 3 outstanding cases in condemnation.
Paul, just a quick question. Was this area that we're, being described here, was that included in the previous condemnation, or?
Yes and no. So, as you see in here, it talks about, this is a portion of the parcel, the adjacent parcel. When we went to condemnation, we presented it as if it was not part of, when we went to condemnation, we presented our case as if this little corner was not part of that parcel,
Okay.
even though the assessor's records recognize it as being part of that parcel.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. I will now open a public hearing on this resolution. The hearing is open. If anyone would like to comment or make a point on the matter. Seeing no one here, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion and/or resolution, a motion for resolution.
I'll move the recommended action.
And I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution as recommended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. Thank you. Item 7, Wasafka project updates.
So Toby Wong is going to give the project updates this month, with the exception of the federal project, which I'll do at the end.
Toby,
Hey,
welcome.
Chairman Denton, members of the board. I'd like to highlight a couple of items on the progress report. You have it in your agenda packet. On the environmental front, you know that Time Oil Holding, filed bankruptcy, and they were supposed to clean up on a portion of the project in the north offset area. So now we need to proceed with cleanup so that we don't delay the project. Staff put out an RFP in early December, or no, actually end of November, and we received 8 proposals for site remediation and conducting site assessment for property conveyance. So we received 8 proposals, and staff will be reviewing those proposals this month and hope to bring a contract to the board for approval at the next board meeting. Cleanup for the site, once the contractors under contract, is anticipated for June of this year. On the construction front, Major 27 construction ended last year. The contractor pretty much is in winterization mode right now. They've got a small crew out there that's addressing mainly erosion and sediment control devices. They're also in the process of doing the submittals for the construction activities next year and looking at work plan and scheduling And staff will be meeting with the contractor at the end of this month to look at those, the scheduling and program to see how that's going to work for the rest of the work that's planned for 2018. Actually, the tree demo contractor moved some equipment in this week, and we'll be doing some grinding of the remaining construction demo work, the tree and shrubs that's currently sitting on site, so that we can avoid any nesting issues with the bird that's coming in February. Also, as part of the time oil remediation work, we applied for a minor alteration request with the Central Valley Flood Protection Board, and we got approval for that last week, and that'll allow us to complete the remediation work this June. One last item I want to update is the Deepwater Ship Channel East Larry Repair Project. We're in the process of finalizing the PS&E package this week and next week, and hope to put that project out to bid before the end of the month, with bid opening next month and award of a contract hopefully in March, and starting construction in April. Actually, not construction, they'll probably start the submittals and material procurement, and construction will probably start sometime in early summer. With that, ends my update for the items in the update report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? No. Thank you very much, Toby.
Okay, thanks.
Greg?
All right. Thank you, Chairman Ramos and board members. So just to update on the federal project activities, I think the board is aware that we've been working with the district office to revise the project cost schedule and benefit cost ratio. The certified costs came back from Walla Walla last month, so that is now certified. And it's remained as is it was reported in the progress report. So the total revised first cost is now about $981 million, which is about $232 million less than what was first authorized. That savings and the adjustments to the schedule have resulted in a final draft BCR that has been through the district quality control of 2.2. So we've gone from a BCR of 1.2 now up to 2.2, and that will be going out for agency technical review. I believe it's the Los Angeles district that performs that review within the next couple of days. And that process takes anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. So it's unlikely that BCR will change. There are not a lot of assumptions that go into the economic analysis, unlike the many assumptions that go into the cost update. So district and core staff and our staff are confident that the BCR will remain the same. And this presents, I think, with SAFCA, puts us in a very good position to compete nationally for funding. So the trick is going to be when funding can be approved. So the federal budget process is kind of doing its thing back in DC right now, but it doesn't look like we're going to have an appropriations bill for at least a month, maybe more. And that gives time for that technical review to work its way through and hopefully get completed, and our BCR can then be certified. So Plan A with the Corps is to get to those certified, fully compliant certified numbers and transmit those with the revised 2018 work plan. If the budget process moves faster than that ATR review, certification, then the draft numbers will be provided as part of that 2018 work plan, with the caveat that they're working on being finalized. So we're hoping for Plan A. Next week, our mayor will be back in DC as part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I don't have his itinerary, but I know there are plans for him to meet with folks back at headquarters, Corps headquarters, ASA, OMB, and our congressional delegation. So we have provided, and I think I handed out to you guys a project fact sheet, which kind of gives sort of the nuts and bolts and also illustrates the work that had been done to reduce the project cost and improve the benefit cost ratio. So this will be one of the leave-behind documents that will be presented by the mayor at his various meetings. And that, along with the normal brochure that is put together that contains information on flood, transportation, and port navigation stuff. I think that about wraps it up. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the process, timing, or whatever.
Any questions? Anyone? No. Stay on it.
You bet.
Keep on going. Okay. Item 8, director's comments. If anyone has anything? I just have a short one. Mark, you distributed this audit, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and I understand in February we may have the opportunity, if any questions with city staff on it.
That's great.
And I would just add, we had discussed at some point, in the last few months, and that we get kind of a more detailed report on their reconciliations from, June of 2013, June 30th of 2017,
Yeah.
and how those things went. And, this report here doesn't really show you any detail of that, and I think we're still interested in that based on our budget discussions from last year, so hopefully you can relay that to the city staff when they come, so.
That's correct, and we had planned to, one for a budget true-up report and one for a transmittal of the annual report.
Okay.
So you'll get 2 reports next month on both topics.
Very good, very good. Anything else?
Just to send good wishes to our colleague, Mr. Denton, I think.
Okay, great, and
Absolutely.
we had our alternate Brian here today, and you did a very good job.
Thank you. Stayed out of the way.
So with that, our meeting's adjourned.